I'm saying.
All right. Okay. All right.
He's already rattled. I like this for my draft chances. Unhinged general manager.
Yeah, y'all sent in a henchman. A henchman to mess me up.
All right, welcome back to the High Five Podcast. I'm very excited for our episode today. It's our first draft special. So this format is going to be different than our standard episodes. We're each going to be drafting 5 characters from Westeros for our small council. So this is a build your own small council episode. I want to go over a few ground rules, and hopefully Josh doesn't have too many questions after I explain. Brian's going to use some techie random number generator to figure out the order in which we'll pick. And then we'll do a snake
Let me get that over.
Yeah. and then we'll do a snake draft until each of us have 5 people on our small councils. Snake draft means that the third person to pick picks twice, and then the person who had the second overall pick would go next after that, and it snakes from there. So hopefully that makes sense to our non-sports fans listeners, but you'll get the hang of it as you listen. And we decided that the only required position for each small council will be the hand of the king or queen. Otherwise, each of us can make up our own positions. I'm personally going to stick with the official position, so I'll recap those quickly for our audience. You've got the hand of the king or queen, the grand maester, the master of coin, master of ships, master of whisperers, master of war, master of laws, and lord commander of the king's guard, which I learned is sometimes on the small council, sometimes not. They're just in the room. And then the drafters today are myself, Bartholomew of House Polonia, first of his name. We have Lord Brian of House Juan Valdez, first of his name. And lastly, Sir Joshua of House David, 257th of his name. Brian, did you consider anyone from the House of the Dragon on your draft board?
Yeah, I've got some hot D picks.
Some really? Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
How about you,
I'm
Josh?
surprised.
I have at least one on my big board. Whether they are in my top 5 remains to be seen. Whether they will end up in my small council remains to be seen. I will say, though, you said from Westeros. I am not going to adhere necessarily only to Westeros, but the larger Game of Thrones universe.
Oh, sorry. Is that the Andals? I'm not as much of a nerd as you guys, apparently.
Some Essos representation.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah. No, I have some Essos people on my board too. I just thought Westeros was the whole thing, but that's not. What are there other lands besides Westeros and Essos?
Yeah, there's like the I don't know what it's called, but it's like the China equivalent. They've got like just like big unexplored continent that they never go to in the show. But they made
also is beyond the wall technically Westeros? I think not.
It might not be. Yeah.
Oh, north of the wall.
Yeah.
I've definitely got some north of the wall people high on my list.
Oh, interesting.
But I don't want to give away too much. Any other thoughts before we jump into getting to the draft order?
So the Lord Commander is included in the 5?
Yeah, that can be a position.
5 total. Got it.
It's not always a member of the small council, but some rulers do have the Lord Commander as an advisor as well.
Got it.
Like we just saw with Kristen.
Oh,
that bitch.
Spoiler warning.
Wait, you guys didn't watch the last episode of House of the Dragon?
No, I'm saying for the viewers, they haven't seen it.
Yeah, our hundreds and thousands of viewers.
I'm sorry, but it already passed.
Got
to keep up. This is a very topical podcast. You got to keep up.
Okay.
Josh, any thoughts before we jump in?
I'm ready to go.
All right, Brian, give us the draft order.
To go to war. So.
Okay, Brian just pulled out a full-size bayonet.
Yeah. That's not gonna win. I'm gonna spoil. I'm not drafting a Master of War. I'm the Master of War.
Gotcha.
So wait, Master of War is separate from the Lord Commander?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I guess we'll just. I'm thinking. I've got this random number generator up.
Should we do our sponsorship before we do the first pick?
Yeah.
All right. This episode is brought to you by the Flea Bottom Brothel and Brewery. Are you a disgruntled member of the royal family, more of a spare than the heir, and struggling to find someone who loves you? Come on down to Flea Bottom Brothel and Brewery, where you can get drunk and get loved like the dirty, rotten second-born that you are. Flea Bottom Brothel and Brewery. We'll only rat you out for a really big bribe. We promise.
What kind of beer do they have on tap?
Flea Bottom IPA.
Yeah, my favorite. That flea bottom lager.
All right, Josh, you're up with the top pick.
All right, so I've got my big board here in front of me, keeping in mind that I'm going to have to at some point go with a hand of the king. So I'm gonna go there right off the bat. Take kind of to me what was an obvious choice. I was worried if I ended up with the second or the third pick, and this character got taken, where I would go with my first pick. So glad I landed here at number one, and I'm gonna go with a lot of bang for his weight in Tyrion Lannister.
Oh,
Wow.
And I will name him as my hand of the king. The guy drinks and knows things. I think he's very loyal. He's got, I think, also positional versatility if I ever needed to shake up positions on the small council. He's been master of coin before. He could be a great sommelier if I, times are peaceful and wine is my main concern. But really wanted somebody who is crafty, has some experience on the small council, and who could really come in day one and take over as hand of the king. And also, I think, fairly loyal. Has some cunning to him, but I needed somebody as my hand that I could trust, and I think I can trust Tyrion.
I mean, that's a good pick, I think, but the one concern I would have for Tyrion as hand, he's short, and people don't like that. People don't like that. Are you gonna have the respect of Flea Bottom? Are you gonna have the respect of the realm?
I mean, also thinking about, harking back to my single days when you'd go out, you want a friend who's like slightly less attractive than you, or just much more attractive, less attractive than you, so that, you look good by comparison. I feel like if I'm going out to the brothels, not that, you're necessarily going to get shot down there anyway, but I feel like by comparison, I'm going to look tall, which will boost my self-confidence, which will make me more attractive to the ladies of Flea Bottom.
That's a fair point. That's a fair point. Brian, you're up next.
I'll just quick comment on this pick. I knew that you would make this mistake. I knew it. I could smell it a mile away, and I think, yeah, you certainly don't have the respect of this realm with this hand. So yeah, now that I'm on the draft clock, how much time do I have for the draft? 5 minutes?
Yeah, 10 minutes. This is a 4-hour podcast.
Because I got my phone ringing off the hook. I got my scouts are on the line, so I do have to consult with my team. But I didn't think that she would be here at the second overall pick for hand of the king. I'm going with a shocker and Cersei Lannister, hand of the king.
Ooh, Cersei.
She's diabolical, and in keeping with my values, she's a winner that is willing to do whatever it takes, including murdering all her own family. But as long as she's loyal to you, I think she's cool. So
Yeah, that's the tough one with Cersei. Will she stay loyal? Can she hold that number 2 spot?
I think you just gotta keep an eye on her, and make sure that she's not lying to you constantly.
You might have to dye your hair blonde, go bleach blonde. Also, I don't know if you can necessarily trust her. I will say that I was hoping Cersei, given the fact that she's not very likable, would fall to the 5th round. I had her as a great candidate to run my PTA because she clearly cares about her kids.
Yeah.
So now I don't have anybody in mind to run the Parent Teacher Association in my realm.
Yeah, she certainly does willing to do whatever. But then they all died. So how good of a parent is she really? But that's why I didn't draft her as a master of children.
If you don't get Jaime Lannister, you're screwed because she's gonna ruin the realm unless she's got Jaime on her team.
Nah, that guy's I don't trust that guy for a second.
Oh, okay.
He's too he's her lapdog, you know. So whoever drafts him, he still serves Cersei anyway.
Yeah,
It's a twofer.
Oh, that's not a bad point. Not a bad point.
But yeah, I'm happy with this with my choice. She fits into our schemes. I think she brings a right culture fit to my realm.
All right, so I'm up now, and Cersei wasn't even on my board because I don't trust her one bit. I would never have her on my small council, so I'm very happy about that pick, and I can't believe that I'm here at the third pick with possibly the best person in the entire series. You know who that is. She comes not only as she's going to be my hand, obviously, and she comes not only with all of her cunning and great leadership, but also with a bunch of dragons. I'm taking the mother of dragons, Khaleesi Daenerys Targaryen, in the number 3 spot. I can't believe that she fell that far.
Burner of
As your hand?
Oh yeah, yeah. Khaleesi is my hand for sure.
My concern with Daenerys as the hand was that she kind of is opposed to absolute power, authoritarian rule, I would say, and I definitely plan on being a dictator in the realm. This is not a democracy. So I wonder how comfortable she would be as my number 2. But she does look great getting out of a jacuzzi, I will say.
I think
so. If there were a position on my small council for get her out of the jacuzzi, she would have been high up on my list.
I think as I've been rewatching some of the later seasons, and speaking of untrustworthy, she's too unhinged. You left out the Mad Queen, as she's been named. I don't know. I trust her less than Cersei because she's mentally unstable.
Yeah, that's fine. I can see that. But she's got 3 dragons, so
That she'll use to burn you alive, and she technically only has one, if you've seen the show.
Oh, you mean like the one that she can control?
Not well.
She births 3 dragons.
Anyway, I'm thrilled with the first rounds. I'm glad that you.
We all got our top pick. It seems like.
Yeah, you guys are just like drafting busts. Love it.
All right, I get to go again then.
Start of round 2.
Yeah, start of round 2. All right, I gotta go. I gotta have a Lannister on my squad. I think you need to have a Lannister on the small council, otherwise you're risking an uprising. And so I'm going with the badassest of Lannisters, Tywin.
As what
position? Yeah.
Oh, as what position? Master of Coin, obviously. If you don't have a Lannister at Master of Coin, I think it's a mistake. Tywin Lannister, just an overall ruler, hates all of his kids because they're all fuck ups, and is ruthless. And you need someone ruthless, I think, on the squad. So I got 2 ruthless people now: the Mad Queen and the head of the, I don't know, the greediest, most powerful house of all the land. So Tywin Lannister in the number 4 spot.
That's a good pick. He was high on my list too. He was my second choice for hand in case Cersei was not available at number 2.
All right, Brian.
Okay. It's just one pick, right?
Yeah, you get 1 each time.
Okay. Wow, yeah, a lot of still really great choices on the board. I think I'm gonna go with my Master of War on for my second pick. Also a dragon rider, Daemon the Unhinged Targaryen, beheader of children.
Oh wow.
I needed somebody.
Okay.
I needed somebody that was battle tested, and that as far as I know, as far as the storyline, has never lost a battle. So I think there were a lot of really good choices, but when you look at the advanced metrics, he's really the only one that has proven to win battles really pretty easily. He's willing to sacrifice himself, took out the crab feeder, took out Jaehaerys the younger, and I'm confident that he'll also fit well with my small council's culture.
Yeah, you have a pretty ruthless top two for sure. I like that pick. He was the only one that I would maybe consider from House of the Dragon at this point. We're gonna have to see how that story unfolds this season, but yeah, that was pretty ruthless in that last episode.
I like that he's willing to take matters into his own hands.
That's what you want. You want autonomy. You want them to make decisions. Ask for forgiveness, not permission. That's what you want out of your squad.
I'm not really much of a micromanager. You know, like I like to empower my staff, my council, to take actions on my behalf, and I trust that we'll figure it out after. We'll sew things back together after.
I'll just say a lot of incest is going to be going on. Obviously, Daemon and Cersei are going to be banging, and they're going to have a kid. And I give Brian, 5 years on the Iron Throne tops before they install their offspring, their incestuous bastard offspring, as head of the realm.
They'll call it a brief but glorious reign.
But Daemon and Cersei are different families, so that's not incest. They're just both blonde,
right.
Josh.
Oh yeah.
But
well, same thing.
But the incest might play in my favor because they won't be attracted to each other because they're not related. They're opposites don't attract.
Yeah, in this world, that's right. All right, Josh.
Yeah, good point. They are just both blondes, and that's what I assumed. From the same family. Very confusing. In my defense. All right. Well, I'm gonna go brunette here. Maybe an option that would have fallen to me in the 5th round. But I don't want to risk losing him, even though you've already both gone Master of War. It sounds like I'm gonna stick with that theme, going Master of War. I'm gonna draft Robb Stark.
Oh,
the young again. Wolf. I think the wolf. I think I'm building a pretty likable small council for myself. Pretty loyal small council. So loyalty, if you couldn't tell, going to be one of my criteria here for drafting. Robb, obviously a little bit gullible, as Tyrion was, a little too trusting. So I don't love that. But when it came to war, I mean, he marched right through kind of the middle of Westeros pretty quickly. And if he maybe had not had some bad guidance himself, might have marched right through and taken King's Landing. He was obviously very, very skilled on the battlefield, very good strategic mind there. So I'm comfortable with Robb Stark as my Master of War.
I'm very happy with where Josh is going with this. This is a horrible pick in my opinion. You can't have a male Stark on your team. They're too naive. They're gonna get crushed. And Robb Stark didn't have bad advice. He fell in love and he nullified his betrothal to the Freys. So he did it to himself. I think it's a horrible pick, and I can't believe that I have 0 Stark men on my big board.
Well, it sounds like I've already got the North wrapped up then, which I'm fine with.
We'll see about that.
I don't know that Robb Stark really has the mental toughness, I think, to really last long in this world. Although in the books he was 16 when he won the Battle of Whispering Wood and captured Jaime Lannister, but then he was betrayed by his own mom. So yeah, I agree. This is a small council that will be easy to pick apart, I think, for Josh.
For the second straight week, I'm going to lodge a protest. Brian is reading books. I feel like that's unfair.
Yeah. Sorry, I forgot to mention in the ground rules. There's no reading.
This is what are you, Sam, over here?
Part of preparing for the draft is just getting the information that your other teams aren't willing to dig up. I've had my team has been hard at work.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Josh, you get to go again.
All right. For my third pick, I'm going to take for the position of head witch, the Red Woman.
I thought you might pick
The,
her.
the younger version, of course, not the old hag that, slinks off to go die. But yeah, I feel like you need a real witch on your team. Smoke babies coming out. Maybe the one thing that can overcome a dragon is a smoke demon baby that can basically go anywhere and take out any person you want. And the fact that you have to have sex with an incredibly hot woman to make that happen, just an added bonus there. She can bring me back from the dead if I die, which, pretty badass. So yeah, feeling pretty good about the Red Woman there.
What's her name?
I forget her real name if they even mentioned it on the show.
They
But
don't.
you know who I'm
Witch.
talking about.
Melisandre.
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 Wow. Anonymous Red Woman with the number 3 pick. Wow, yeah, this Josh's small counselor just gets better and better.
It does. It does.
All right, I'll just throw this tidbit for you, Josh. Maybe you didn't know, but from the books, when she births the shadow demon, it drains Stannis of his like energy and life, and he becomes this like feeble, like not like old man, but that's part of why he ends up like losing these battles in the future, is because it like is taking his energy, his demon seed. So if you're trying to conceive a demon baby, keep that in mind.
Well, then I will definitely not let her have sex with Robb Stark because I need that guy out on the battlefield. But it seems like, pretty good method for like, having kids in general. Every parent I know really pretty tired. So makes sense.
Melisandre.
But I'm planning to sit on the throne and drink a lot of wine and get fat and feeble anyway. So not really a concern.
Let's accelerate the job.
Yeah, Rob's going to be working overtime, just doing everything while Josh and Tyrion are threesoming with the Red Woman.
Yeah, it's very distracted, small council, I think.
You're up, Brian.
I'm up? Oh, wow. Okay. Let's see. So I've got my hand. I've got my Master of War. I'm thinking I need to fill out my council with my Master of Laws or my Master of Coin. And I'm confident that my Master of Laws will be there later on, so I'm not gonna make that pick just yet. But I am gonna go. You know what? I'm gonna go with my Master of Whispers next, and I'm going Jaqen Hagar, the leader of the Faceless Men, because what better choice do you want for a whisperer than someone who can take somebody else's face and pretend to be them, including their voice. And I also think this is a twofer as well, because I feel like he could also kind of do double duty as Grand Maester. If you can figure out how to wear somebody's face and impersonate them, I'm confident that you can figure out how to make some milk of the poppy.
Yeah, that was my next pick. So you stole him away from me. I had Jaqen Hagar pretty high up there. I think it's a great pick. He can do Maester, he can do Whisperer, and he's also an assassin. So he can go out and do your bidding on the sly too. I mean, honestly, he could kind of be even a Lord Commander of the King's Guard. That would be kind of a stretch, but yeah, Jaqen Hagar I think is a great pick.
My team over here said he was a Jaqen of all trades.
Okay.
I would have possibly put him on my summer league team. I don't think I would have used a draft pick on Jaqen Hagar. He could be very preachy at times. I don't need that moralizing from my small council.
You know what? I was watching some film, and I think what really did it for me was when Arya ends up betraying the faceless god, and kills her her mentor. He's just like nods, and he's like, okay, so he's also very even keeled, and that's why I think that's what sealed the deal for me. And I didn't think he would go undrafted.
All right, I'm up. There's still a lot of good people available. I'm struggling now where to go because I still have a lot of people on my board. I didn't think I would have this many left. All right. Oh, I really don't know where to go with this one. I think I gotta stay with the all powerful and the ruthless and the proven leaders, and hope that they can figure it out between themselves, that their egos don't get in the way. And I'm gonna go with Olenna Tyrell, Queen of
Oh,
Thorns,
that was
and
a close.
I'll put her as Master of War because I think she can do any type of strategy necessary. Um, and also, she's just bringing a lot of good, dry, quick wit and humor to the table for me. And I think she might be the one person that could keep the Mad Queen Khaleesi in check. So, yeah, Olenna Tyrell, the Queen of Thorns.
Good choice. She was my alternate between Jaqen and her, my pick, my third pick.
Okay, and now I'm up again. There's still so many good options. All right. I'm going next with someone who can get the job done on the sly. Doesn't need as much pomp and circumstance as my other picks. They're all very, like high profile. They like to be out and about and seen, and this one works in the shadows. And this is Varys, the spider, the eunuch, and I just think that he is incredibly cunning, and I need that brain on my team. Um, and I think he can hold his own against these other powerful people. And he doesn't mind taking a back seat. So we can give the show over to Khaleesi. Olenna Tyrell needs to wear all of her fancy get up, but Varys can just be working, in the hallways and the tunnels of the Red Keep and making sure that nothing's getting in that doesn't need to be in there. So I'm going with Varys the Spider at number 10.
Betrayer of kings.
I think I gotta put him. What slot do I want to put him at? I don't really even think it matters for him. He's just gonna do what he does no matter what position you put him at. Um, but Master of Whispers, I think that's his natural spot.
Yeah. Natural position.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, Brian.
I'm up
Back to
next.
you. Yep.
Wow. Yeah, that would Olenna was gonna be my next pick. I think
We have
yeah.
similar. I think we have similar styles on this one.
Yeah, yeah. I think I might. Yeah, I feel like this other pick is still gonna be there, so I'm gonna take a gamble. And I'm gonna go with the mass. Yeah, I think with my next pick, I'm going Master of Laws, the little not often referenced position, but incredibly important. I'm going Sir Otto Hightower, the very very politically savvy Otto. I feel like he'll help us get out of any jam, and really he's been pulling the strings for decades before while Viserys was king. And his instincts were right. They should have murdered Nate Rhaenyra when they had the chance, and now things have gotten out of hand. I think he's proven his advice has been proven, I think, to be very valuable. So I'm going with Otto Hightower, Master of Laws.
A little arrogant. That's maybe his one flaw, is that he thinks he can control the king when he's not the king. But yeah, it's a solid pick. You've got two House of Dragons people on there,
Yeah, yeah.
which is surprising to me.
Little recency bias, but I think they're strong picks. I think the one thing I am concerned about is Otto and Damon not getting along, but it requires a strong king to manage strong personalities. Can't shy away from
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Damon
Little
might just,
friction doesn't hurt. A little,
Can't have a group of
differing
yes
of opinions.
Yeah.
yeah, it can balance itself out. All right, Josh, rounding out round 4, last pick of
Yeah,
round
I'll
4.
just say you two obviously thinking very similarly. A lot of your picks nowhere near my big board. So clearly I'm a visionary, I think, in this group of 3.
He's gonna pick
with
Shay. He's gonna
I think
pick Shay
I'm
next.
pretty.
You're gonna pick Shay next.
I think I know.
Which one is Shay?
She's Tyrion's whore.
Oh, I considered her, but I think the red woman, I think can fill that need if I need. Maybe a later pick. I'll go somewhere in that space. But for this pick, the one person I thought who was interesting from the last few pick was Olenna Tyrell for this next position specifically, but she didn't even within the candidates for this position make my top 2. So for my master of trolling, I'm going to go with Bronn.
Oh.
I think he's going to by far put me way ahead when it comes to lobbing zingers at your 2 administrations. Also great banter between him and Tyrion. I can just sit back and listen to those 2 talk for hours, and just brings a lot of heat when it comes to insulting other people. And if you know me, which Brett, you do, and Brian, you're coming to, I love trolling. So I got to have somebody on my team that can be, writing me jokes, but also out there on the front lines administering and implementing those jokes themselves.
Did you say Ron?
Bronn.
Oh, Bronn. I was like, who the hell is Ron? Okay, Bronn. Yeah,
Braun is a good choice.
that's Tyrion's main guy, right?
Yeah.
He's just always hanging out, being his champion, killing people for Tyrion.
And not the most loyal necessary, but easily his motivation. His motivation is the money. So
Yeah,
as
easy
long
to
as
control.
you're paying him well, you're in good shape there.
All right, before we go into the 5th round, 5th and final, I have a question for you guys. There's more spots, there's more characters. I feel like we could go more than 5 rounds. But that doesn't really fit with our theme of the high 5, but happy to cap it at 5, but if you guys wanted to go further, we could keep going. What are your thoughts there?
Has anyone drafted a Lord Commander?
No, not yet.
Because we could add a Lord Commander round.
Okay, so let's keep.
Yeah.
I like that. So we'll keep the 5th round, final round, no Lord Commanders, and then we'll do the Lord Commander pick at the end.
Yeah.
All right, so let me just recap real quick the teams before we go into the final round. So Josh's small council so far, Tyrion Lannister. What position was Lannister or Tyrion at for you? Hand
Hand of the king.
Small hand. Small council, small hand. Tyrion Lannister. Robb Stark, Master of War. The Red Woman was what position for you?
Head witch.
Head witch. All right. Head witch. And then Bronn, Master of Trolling. For Brian, we've got Cersei at the hand. Daemon the Unhinged, a Master of War. Jaqen Hagar as Master of Whisperers. And Otto Hightower, Master of Laws. For Brett, we've got Khaleesi as the hand. Tywin Lannister as Master of Coin, Olenna Tyrell as Master of War, and Varys the Spider as Master of Whisperers. Okay, Josh, you are starting out 5th and final round, number 13.
Yeah, this was a tough one. There were a couple of names on my list, including one really great name, and I know Brian likes a great name, so I feel like this could be somewhere where Brian would go next, but I feel like the fact that I don't have any dragons on my team right now is a little bit of a weakness. I have to grab somebody who can be, say, head of the Royal Air Force, something like that. And so I'm going to go with Rhaenyra Targaryen. This could be a massive mistake, having not read the books. She could be dead by next week. I don't know. Obviously, I have the Melisandre if I need to revive her, but I feel like she comes with a solid contingent of dragons, and I feel like as a poor man's Daenerys Targaryen, getting her 5 rounds later is solid value pick there for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and also more of a possibility of incest between Daenerys and her I think, great grandmother, Rhaenyra. But that's neither here nor there.
Definitely a bit incestuous, but seems fairly level headed. Doesn't seem like she's going down the path of becoming a mad queen. Yeah, so pretty loyal, pretty level headed, and comes with dragons. And I wouldn't mind seeing her get out of a jacuzzi either.
Seems kind of, I don't know. She might be weak like her father, like my boy Damon says.
Okay, Brian.
Okay, I'm going with my fifth overall pick. All right, I think I'm going with I'm reacting a little bit to these other councils. I think not initially, and with the latest Lord Commander round, I think I'm gonna take with my Master of Coin, the new Queen of the North, Sansa Stark, because of one, you got to make sure to keep the Starks divided, and she's always kind of judgy of the other Starks and thinks she's better than them, and I think that fits well with my current council, and she's a fast learner, she's we've watched her go from dumb kid to murdering Peter Baelish in a span of 8 short years, and as the new Queen of the North, she controls a whole kingdom. So I'm going with Master of Coin, Master of the North, Sansa Stark.
Yeah, Sansa, I feel like good pick, like the later Sansa, but early Sansa was the worst.
Well, I'm not drafting a child.
Yeah, I wouldn't. That just worries me that's going to come back and some old habits die hard. And I wouldn't necessarily call her a quick learner. Took her a long time to figure it out. But it seemed like she turned into a pretty decent ruler by the end of it. So maybe a solid pick. But Sansa just worries me that she's a little bit weak and not ruthless enough. But you've got some other ruthless people on your team, so maybe she can bring some level-headedness to it.
I think under Cersei's tutelage, she could continue to grow into a ruthless small council member.
If you put her in charge of the purse, though, your parties are going to be pretty weak. Like, she's not going to be a big spender. I think it seems like they don't really shell out dollars that much in the North. So it's gonna be.
She does seem to like nice things, though.
Yeah.
At least when she was a child, she seemed to be drawn to shiny objects. But I do worry about how her and Cersei on the same small council will vibe. Also, I've not much of an acting career after Game of Thrones, so I wonder, going forward, what that means for your realm.
She was an X-Men. She was the Phoenix, rising from the ashes.
I guess I saw her in some movie where she wasn't very compelling. I don't remember the name of the movie, but not great.
I think the realm likes Sansa, but concerns heard.
Okay. All right. The
Mr.
final...
or Mrs. Irrelevant of the realm.
Yeah, this pick is Mr. and Mrs. Irrelevant. Oh man, I still have so many good options. I think. What positions do I have left? I still have Master of Laws available and Master of Ships.
Oh yeah, Master of Ships.
I think I'm going Agent of Chaos on this one, and I'll put it Master of Laws. And don't know if this guy knows any laws or even knows what a law is. He just kind of kind of goes to the beat of his own drum. And we don't know much about his personality, but we know that he can convince a lot of people to fight for him. And so he must be very persuasive. And I'm going with the Night King.
Oh, that's a tough break for me.
I think I gotta break from tradition here and make up my own position and just call it the Master of Chaos, because you really don't know what's gonna happen with this guy, and as long as Arya stays away from him, he can do anything. And I feel like if I can get him under my control, I can just send out a horde of undead to solve any problem that I have.
He's a great recruiter, I've heard.
He's a great recruiter. Yeah, he's a great recruiter.
Very active on LinkedIn. See him all the time. That's a great choice. He was high on my list too. Not that high, but 5th round and beyond.
Yeah, yeah.
He was a strong candidate for Lord Commander of the Kingsguard.
All right, Lord Commander of the Kingsguard. Let's.
Wait, what was the Night King's Achilles heel? Was it Dragon Glass or was it Valyrian Steel?
I don't know, Brian, book reader.
I think it's the Valyrian Steel. I think that's what kills him in the end. It could be Dragon. I think it could be both. But
seems like a lot of flaws. Pretty easy to take down now that we've solved that riddle.
Yeah,
but okay.
Yeah. I mean, I think the him being a mute thing is might be a little difficult. You know, it's just like not really contributing a lot to the small council meetings. Just like sitting there.
Not easy to look at either.
Just sitting there like a potted plant. So
he just walks out of a meeting, and next thing you know, the whole city's destroyed.
Yeah. You know, it's just like, I think it's a high risk, high reward pick. I think it's good value in the 5th round.
All right. How do you guys want to do this Lord Commander round? Should I go just keep the snake going and I'll go next?
Sure.
All right. I feel good about that. A lot of good Lord Commanders.
Yeah.
I considered Brienne of Tarth for this spot.
Yeah.
I think she'd be really good. She seems like she can just beat anybody up, and she's definitely the loyalist. But I just think it's just a big downer. I can't really have her on my team. Maybe a locker room cancer, just always bringing in like bad vibes. So I wouldn't have Brienne in there. I thought about the Hound, but again, just a big downer. I mean, he only really like helped out Arya and begrudgingly. So I think his vibes are off too for my locker room.
Yeah, I agree. Bad vibes.
And
we'll definitely steal your chickens as well.
Yeah, and I'm feeling really good about having the eunuch squad. So I'm gonna go with Grey Worm as my Lord Commander. And I just know that he's gonna be loyal to the end. He can do anything with that spear, not the one on his body, but the one in his hand. And I'll feel pretty safe with Grey Worm by my side, especially if I have to manage the Night King in the room as well. So Grey Worm is my Lord Commander of the Kingsguard.
Nice choice. He was up there for Master of War for me in the earlier rounds. But he's a little too self-righteous for me. His vibes were off at the end when he wanted to execute Jon Snow.
All right.
Quick, that's my turn.
Yep.
Quick, wrap this up.
Yep.
All right. With my Lord Commander pick, I'm going with Khal Drogo. Fearsome fighter, leader of a Dothraki horde, and a little bit arrogant because he dies because he kind of gives himself this infection. But I like him for my Lord Commander.
All right, Josh, and your final pick.
I liked Khal Drogo. I was thinking about going with him for my last pick, but I'm going to go with that name I mentioned earlier. I alluded to, and go Tormund Giantsbane.
Nice.
Oh, nice. He was on
From
my
Beyond the Wall.
on my list too.
Also good for comedic relief. He's got a lot of good
I've
lines.
got the funniest small council by far, I will
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do.
Funniest, most killable small council.
I'm going to let y'all wrap it up. Y'all can talk as much shit as you want about my small council. I'm confident in it. And we'll declare a winner next week, maybe. I'll
Yeah.
bring a rant.
All right. All right. See you, Josh.
A few moments later.
But to recap the draft, we had 5 rounds of building your own council, and then a bonus round of the Lord Commander of the Night's Watch. So Josh went number 1 overall. He got Tyrion Lannister, Robb Stark, the Red Woman as his head witch, Bronn, the Master of Trolling, and Rhaenyra Targaryen, Master of Air, I guess. And then his Lord Commander is Tormund Giantsbane. Brian went with Cersei Lannister for Hand, Daemon the Unhinged for Master of War, Jaqen Hagar for Master of Whisperers, Otto Hightower, Master of Laws, and Sansa Stark, Master of Coin. His Lord Commander is Khal Drogo. Brett went with Khaleesi as his Hand, Tywin Lannister, Master of Coin, Olenna Tyrell, Master of War, Varys, the Spider, Master of Whisperers, and the Night King as Master of Chaos. And his Lord Commander is Grey Worm. Josh, I'm curious to know, how do you feel about your picks overall?
I obviously feel like my picks are the best. I've got the North, I think, pretty much guaranteed. I know there's one other Stark here on the board, but it's the younger sister of the King of the North, Robb Stark. So I think that she will ultimately defer. Also has a soft spot for Tyrion Lannister in her heart. I feel like in general, there are a lot of people on your small councils, when given the chance to defect to my administration, will leap at the opportunity to do so.
So you think you have the strongest council by having the weakest personalities on there?
I would not qualify them as having the weakest personalities. Maybe they have the biggest hearts, I think you could say, but not the weakest personality. Bronn, pretty strong personality. Tyrion, very strong personality. Melisandre, mysterious, but I would say she's got some personality to her. Certainly Tormund Giantsbane, big personality.
Did you have like a theme for your picks? Like, what were you trying to go for?
Yeah, loyalty was definitely one that I considered. I don't want any conniving behind my back. If they want to be competitive amongst themselves, that's fine, but I don't want any questions as to my authority. And I think all of the people I picked on my list, Bronn being maybe the one exception, Tormund Giantsbane maybe a little bit of a wild card, but I feel like I know their motivations. It's easy to, and it's not necessarily power. In Bronn's case, it's more money. Giant Tormund's Bane, maybe I can dangle Brienne of Tarth in front of him to kind of bring him in line. I think that's really something easy to control. So I want a controllable situation for sure. I also very much looked for positional versatility, just in case. I know we're designating them for particular roles, but it's always nice to be able to call an audible and have them shift into different roles. So I mentioned with Tyrion, he could be my sommelier. He could fill in at Master of Coin. I don't even have a Master of Coin, so he could kind of like dual work those two jobs as is the theme. And then lastly, comedic value. I definitely want to be entertained when I'm sitting there in the room with these people. I'm going to be spending lots of hours with them. There's probably going to be wine being drunk. I don't want to be bored to death. Like, I don't need a Master of Laws. All right. I make my own laws.
Okay. All right. Very good. Brian, how did you feel about your picks, and did you have any themes?
Obviously, I feel great about the squad that I drafted. We've got a heck of a ball club. And I think I'd like to be the first one to dub King Josh the Fairweather, because everyone in this small council is so easily swayed. You just dangle something in front of them, and they, I think, are more likely to abandon his administration than the other way around. But I think my council is full of a list of killers, people who are in their own right could be kings or queens if they didn't already have such a strong leader in King Brian, the first of his name. And I feel like they bring a very diverse set of skills that are going to help. They've got a lot of depth. We've got also in a positionless theme. You know, I think Sansa's technically our master of coin, but we've got Otto, we've got Cersei, we've got Daemon, we've got a lot of people who can play different positions out on the field, defend multiple positions, and I think she will help me take the North. So I feel really good. I think Khal Drogo he'll mount the stallion of the Lord Commandership and keep everybody in line. So I think my team could go all the way.
Khal Drogo could maybe just like nick his arm, scratch his arm on a fence or something and die though. So that's kind of a big weakness for your Lord Commander there. Like, didn't he die of an infection?
That's because he was living in Essos, mostly spending his time shirtless. In King's Landing, we'll make sure to get him some gear and some more modern armor to defend me at all costs. So I'm not too worried. Sansa will knit him something durable.
For my team, for my small council, I feel like I went with it's like all strategists except for the master of chaos and Night King. I don't think he's much of a strategist. He just kind of bowls over. But you kind of need that, you know. It's maybe like a Grant Williams, Draymond Green type. But yeah, I have a lot of pure strategists, and so I feel like we could maybe outthink the other squads. But maybe lacking in like the killing area. Like Brian's definitely got a lot of killers on his team. But then I got Grey Worm, you know, and an unintended theme for mine, the eunuchs coming in strong. So I'm feeling good about having very little distractions on my team, because they won't be side eyeing any of the other members.
I'm surprised you didn't draft Theon.
Nah, but he's the worst of the eunuchs. No, we'd never have Theon on my squad.
I am surprised Euron wasn't picked. Euron would have been a solid master of ships.
Yeah, for master of ships. Yeah.
Also, good comedic value.
We had no masters of ships. My overall theme though in my picks was peace in the realm. I wanted like balance on my team. That's why I had like Khaleesi with Essos, Tywin with the Lannisters, Tyrell, another powerful house, and then Varys for the commoners. I thought it was important to have someone that could relate to the commoners. Yeah, I was trying to go for a real balanced team. Like, you know, no one star really, just a bunch of players.
Yeah, genitalia mutilation, probably a good strategy if you want peace, I'll say. You know, cutting off people's dicks probably would limit the number of wars we have. I do want to respond to this Josh the Fairweather, because I think it was lobbed at me in insult, but I actually wear that name proudly. If you think of Philadelphia Sports Radio, it's so good because we're so fair weather in our fandom. One day we love you, one day we hate you. We're very fickle people, but it works for us, and I am happy to have that in my realm.
Brian, who are the people on your board that you like had next up if we were to keep going? Like who were you thinking about putting on there that you ended up not selecting?
So after the initial draft, I was reflecting, and Euron Greyjoy came to mind as somebody, and Dario Naharis I thought would have been a good. He's maybe more of a foot soldier. I don't know if he would be elevated as high as the small council, maybe a special advisor. But seeing as he killed his second sons, the other leaders of the second sons, to join Team Dany, he seems like a pretty loyal guy. And I kind of like Jorah. You know, Jorah was always been a solid advisor, despite the scales.
Jorah Mormont.
Yeah.
I had Lyanna Mormont as high up on my list, and she just didn't really fit. Maybe if we went 1 or 2 more rounds, I could get her in there. But I also had Miss Endai high up there. And I was looking at that name a lot as we were going through the picks, but I just felt like these other people were a little more ruthless than her. But she was also high up on my list.
Missandei?
Yeah, Missandei.
Missandei of Noth?
Missandei. The babe translator.
That's Missandei.
Yeah. Josh, who was next up on your list if we had kept going?
Yeah, Missandei, definitely a name I considered. If we ever do an episode on lookers of the realm, she would be high up on the draft board, and some others. So I won't spoil in case we go down that route. One other name I had, particularly when I was thinking of a master of trolling, was King Joffrey. I thought he was pretty good as a troller, and I knew I could grab him late in the draft if I wanted him. But I ended up going Bronn. I think Bronn, again, brings in more positional versatility, a little bit more funny beyond just trolling, has a good relationship with Tyrion, also pretty handy with a sword if I need some added muscle.
Yeah, Bronn can actually do some things without power because he's just a good swordsman, whereas Joffrey, he needed the power in order to get anything done because if he was just out there by himself, he would get crushed.
It's all nepotism.
Yeah, that was all, and he was all nepotism.
And lastly, I thought about big old Bobby Baratheon as my master of war, but ultimately, he turned on his king and was a usurper. So I didn't necessarily want that so close to my
Also,
power.
Weak death by him. Didn't he die from a pig, like a
boar?
A boar snouted him in the forest.
Gored by a boar.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't like the characters that have these suspect deaths like Khal Drogo and Bobby Baratheon. It's just, I don't know. I think you got to go out swinging, and then those guys seem to not do that.
Well, that was later on. In his early days, he conquered the realm. So it depends on what era of Bobby Baratheon we're talking about. I'm thinking a younger Bobby Baratheon.
Okay, young Bobby. Okay.
Yeah. I think one I would have drafted if I wasn't so scared of him was the High Sparrow.
Yeah,
he's somebody that I feel like you can't. I put him in the same category as the Night King as being pretty uncontrollable.
Another master of chaos.
Yeah, he's like a
that's fair.
Somebody if he were on a team, he'd be a journeyman. Just like can't really stick around a team too long because he gets too big for his britches.
Yeah. Okay, guys, that pretty much wraps up. Any final thoughts?
I will say I'm a little bit surprised Jaime Lannister didn't get even an honorable mention here. Obviously, reputation as Kingslayer probably biases the crowd against him. But as we came to learn, he was pretty justified in that decision. He was one also I thought would have ended up on a small council, or at least in consideration. It didn't.
Yeah, he probably would have been a good Lord Commander since he's the best fighter, best swordsman.
Not with one
especially
hand,
when he has two hands. Yeah, well.
He's too much of a sucker. By the end of the series, he might as well be a eunuch.
Get him on my team then.
Brett the eunuch.
Drafter of eunuchs. All right, we need our loyal listeners to comment. Send in to the High Five Podcast 55@gmail.com if you have a favorite small council. There's no way for us to unbiasedly pick a winner here, so we're just going to rely on our fans to pick the winner. And thank you guys very much for listening.